you ready to party? Let's go.
Joseph Darling or Joe Darling?
Yeah, perfect.
Joe Darling, welcome to the podcast, my friend.
How you doing, buddy?
Good. It's been a while. We've been trying to do this for a bit.
I know.
Dude, welcome. And you haven't seen Sam in how long?
Yo.
I have no idea.
Joe.
I'm terrible with numbers, so
It's too long, man.
yeah.
Joe also said he couldn't see you from where he's sitting. I don't know if that was a...
I didn't know how to take that either.
Mark, or is
I'm
it
just gonna
because
say
of
the light.
I believe
the
it's the light.
Yep. Definitely.
Yeah, so
light.
everybody knows we have ring lights behind the cameras, so it's hard to see anything behind the camera. But
Yeah.
Sam, you're beautiful, so
Including Sam.
yeah, we love seeing you all the time,
I love you too.
even though you're midnight. All right, anyways. Heyo, welcome.
Next.
Oh, man. Well, Joe, how long have we known each other?
Dude, what, since second
I
grade?
think it's second grade, yeah. Long time.
Forever.
So you know Sam. You also know Danielle Cravat.
Yep.
Baltazar. She comes
Baltazar.
on here for our monthly reviews, and probably a lot of the guests have come on.
Yeah. More than half.
Yeah, because I figured
Yeah.
when I started the podcast, I was like, I'm just going to start asking old friends to come on and see what happens.
Yeah.
And it worked out. So
Yeah, Josh Parkinson, saw him at church.
yeah, he goes to your church, right?
Yep.
That's cool, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, he likes it a lot.
Yeah, he's doing good.
Yeah, he's doing really good. I'm pumped for him. He just got that mechanic job, right?
I
Working
think
on
so.
planes. Dude,
Yeah.
shout out Josh.
Heck yeah.
Great job, my dude.
Rock on.
He's
Did he end up getting the job?
He got the job.
Oh, dude, yes.
Yeah.
Hey, congratulations. You sounded pumped. Yeah, no, it's awesome.
It's a big deal. So people also know how I got into the fire service is actually because of Joe Darling.
No kidding.
Yeah,
Yep.
we were going to school together, and I originally was going to join the Police Explorers, and then I can't remember how it was. We were on the same wrestling team. We played basketball together, and he's like, "Hey, I joined the Fire Explorers over here in Bell Gardens." I was like, "Cool." He's like, "You should try it out." And I went, and I had that huge afro, that picture.
Oh, yeah.
We shaved it at Joe's house.
Yep.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, they said if you want to come back here and be a part of this, you need to cut your hair.
Like, okay.
Yeah, so I would stay the night at Joe's house like every Friday night, and then Saturday we would go to Explorers.
And this was during high school?
Yeah,
Yeah.
10th grade was the first time.
Awesome.
Yeah, when they shaved my head, dude, it looked like we shaved a huge goat. And dude, there's hair everywhere. You're talking about 18 inches of hair all the way around.
Yeah.
Your fro is pretty massive from the pictures that I've seen, so
Oh.
I had to been. But what's funny is that you showed up to the Explorer program with the afro.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is pretty rad. Because I'm sure that was a probably talking point. Everyone's like, what?
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a long time ago, dude.
It was.
And that's how I got started in my career, dude.
Yeah, and then I left for a while, right?
I think, yeah, because you focused on basketball.
Yep, I was focusing on basketball, and then I remember, like, after graduation, nothing happened, and then I meet you again, and you're working for the Forest Service,
Yeah.
and you're like, yeah, it's super cool. I did this Wildland Academy, Rio Hondo, and I'm working for the Forest Service. Like, you should try it out. And then he got me back into fire because I was lost looking for a trade and working at Starbucks, and
You worked at Starbucks?
Yeah.
How long did you work at Starbucks?
I worked at a Starbucks for like a year after high school.
Really?
And then I went to a golf course in Cerritos, worked there for, I think, like 3 or 4 years
Okay.
while I was going through Rio Hondo's Academy.
Okay.
And then I got picked up in Bakersfield on a hot shot crew.
Yeah, you, Steve. There's a couple guys. Isn't there a guy we work with? I'm trying to remember his name. Anyways, I think he was on Kern with you guys too, right? Wasn't there a guy we work with?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I can't remember. his name.
Marshall.
Marshall, yeah.
Yep.
He was on Kern with you guys, right?
Yeah, we started the same year.
That's so cool.
We're rookies together.
Now, real quick, like, just for anyone who's not fire department related, like, kind of explain what a hotshot crew is.
Okay, we're getting deep now.
We're the Navy SEALs of the fire service.
No, I
That's
hate,
how I was going to explain it.
I hate that. No.
Special ops, dude.
So, a hotshot crew, right? It's 18 to 20 individuals formed together to deal with wildfires. And the way they do, the reason people call them like the Navy SEALs of the fire service is just because of the experience and qualifications that they need to do the job. So, hotshot crews are ultimately like the way that fires get put out because of that breadth of experience. Because when they get to a large incident, they're able to break apart, scout line, figure things out. You have superintendents that have been doing it for 30 plus years that have all these qualifications. You have captains and squad bosses that can all scout pieces of line, figure out what's going to work, what can't. You have fallers on the crew. You just have all these people that could do different things to reach an end goal of putting line around the fire, putting it out.
So you're basically like a special forces group within the fire department, like the Navy SEALs.
Sort of.
Okay, got it. I just want
Yeah.
to make sure that I was on the same page.
But it's rad. It's just a bunch of people that love working hard and like
Yeah.
being miserable and have fun doing it.
It's hard work, bro.
Yeah,
Can you
it's-
stay in front of the mic.
I'm sorry.
No, you're
The
good. You're good.
unsung
I
heroes.
told you I move around a lot.
No, you're good.
Wild
You're good.
incidents.
Well, a lot of people don't understand too the physical aspect behind being not just a wildland firefighter with the Forest Service, Cal Fire, BLM, but being on a hotshot crew. I mean, you're talking. What was the physical fitness like you guys had?
So we broke it down to legs and lungs because that's mostly like,
I like that, dude.
Legs and lungs.
Legs and
yeah.
lungs.
That's legit.
that's mostly what you're going to need to survive, right? Because it's hiking. You're on your feet all day long, 16 hours a day, bent over, putting in line, running a chainsaw. The physical fitness side of it is mostly when we start off is just hiking and running. I would say most of our runs are no less than 5 miles when we were on the cruise, because it's an endurance game.
Yeah. Well, and it's also, I'm sure, kind of like we deal with now, right? Working out on duty, you don't want to blow your full load, work out too hard, but you still got to do enough to keep up with everybody, right?
Yeah. And we like it's the off season's your time to be prepared when you come in on the season. It's just
Right.
maintaining and then doing it as the crew.
Right.
And then of course people come in, they're not in shape, so we gotta push through that, and come mid season everyone's hiking together.
Everyone's pretty much a style. But
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people underestimate hiking.
Oh, it's brutal.
Oh my God. And you're talking, you guys can be on fires. What's the rotation we had for? I think everyone does it the same now, right? 14-day rotations.
Yeah, Cal Fire and us are a little bit different, because
Oh, the 24-hour shift.
Yeah.
In 12s.
so I don't think we necessarily have like we have to stop at 14. We just do it because of the mental health and the fatigue and everything. It just makes more sense at 2 weeks to stop and get some rest in.
Yeah.
Because after that, mistakes start happening.
Oh yeah.
And
That's
they're
gonna get
even
hurt, right?
they're even talking about now is moving it to a 30-person crew and doing rotations within 7 days, and having those other 10 people come relieve, so you have fresh bodies coming in and out of fires.
Wow.
Yeah, so I think
Now, who's talking about? You talking the state or feds?
feds.
Wow.
So I think
That'd be a game changer, huh?
yeah, I don't know if better or not, but they're gonna try it. I guess that's what they used to do back in like the CCC days
Okay.
before Hot Shots were founded, and then the beginning Hot Shot crews were 30-person, but they're gonna try it out this season and see what happens. I think a few crews on each forest are gonna try it and
Yeah.
see if it works or not.
How long were you with the Forest Service?
My last season was 2019.
So yeah, what you think you said 13 years?
13,
right?
yeah.
13 years and mostly hotshot crew, right?
Yeah. I did one season on an engine for the apprenticeship program. Like that's how you promote within the feds. But the rest of my time was all hot shots.
So when you were on a hotshot crew, like in between seasons, how long? Was it common for like people to like just stay on top of the physicality training, or was it like people might I don't want to say slack off, but like just not really care as much about staying in shape from that perspective? And then like how long would you give yourself out before season would start to like get yourself like run ready when season starts? You're good to go.
So there's definitely that period of time usually, because usually we get laid off in October, November. So November to like January is like your chill time. You got Christmas and just kind of relax, help the body recuperate. And then usually January, you'll start doing like little runs here and there. February, March, upping like the mileage. And then April into May is when you'd start like throwing your pack on and actually going on hikes.
So people know when you say pack, that is the pack that you wear around your waist that has your fire shelter, extra water, sometimes extra fuel, right, for the chainsaws.
Yep.
And what's the usual weight of that?
Depending on your job. So chainsaws, I'd say 40, 45 pound pack.
Let's go.
And then the tools are going to be usually around like 30, 35 because then you're still carrying fuel for the saws and extra batteries for your radio.
Oh,
and
right.
GPSs and compasses and and then as you kind of move up, then you're carrying extra water so the people can continue to work.
Yeah.
And we don't have to stop for water breaks.
So you're hiking
with
That's so much weight.
100 plus
dude.
pounds on you.
The saws definitely.
Yeah.
Because then they're carrying the chainsaw.
See, and I think that's like an interesting point because when you see like non-hot shot, like our like Type 1 crews or whatever, like everyone is outfitted with hose packs, right?
Yeah.
Because of the interface that all the Southern California, or actually pretty much all the California fire departments face. But like when you have a hose pack on, it's only for a brief amount of time. Inevitably, you will drop that hose because you're going to use it. So then you end up having like just your regular pack, which is maybe, let's say 20 pounds if you have a lot of stuff in it.
Yeah.
But you guys are carrying over 100 pounds for miles and miles and miles, Just,
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And it's just, you're going through your fuel. At least you're going through your water, but you can't go through it too quick because it's hard to get water. If you're going to need water, you're going to have to hike all the way back down to where you came from to get it or trying to get a helicopter to drop it, but then you need to cut out an area for the helicopter
So there's
to
a
drop
lot.
it.
There's a lot to think about when it comes to not just working hard, but your water
Logistics.
consumption and your food consumption, the fuel consumption, because you want to stay out as long as possible, right?
Yeah.
The pride of the crew.
Yeah, because ultimately, like, we're a business, right? And what we're creating is handline, and we're trying to do the quality and quantity, right? So quality handline, and we want to put the most out there because that's how a hotshot crew makes its name, is putting in the best handline and the most of it more than anyone else. And then you're a good hotshot crew.
So is there like a rivalry between hotshot crews?
There is, but it's not like how it used to be. Like,
Is it a healthy rivalry?
it's a healthy rivalry. Like everyone's now,
Well put, yeah.
yeah. Now everyone's,
Screw these guys.
right. Let's just stomp all over their work.
yeah. Everyone's kind of like becoming friends. Like people are leaving crews and intermingling with other crews. Back in the day, like crews used to fight on the line, and there's definitely like that kind of rivalry.
Rivalry?
You know the word.
I got what you're saying.
When I first said it, I stuttered.
Okay.
I was like,
It's a hard word.
rivalry. There we go.
Rivalry.
You just have to say it funny.
Rivalry.
How's the rivalry within the hotshot crews there, Mr. Darling?
Yeah, it's definitely like a better working environment now. Because we see that the more we get along, the easier it is to communicate, and the more work we can get done, and people are working together instead of like, hey, I'm not going to talk to this person because they're a different crew.
Yeah, I mean, it used to be that way. I know amongst fire departments, at least where we came from, the older days.
Oh, yeah.
Screw those guys. They're not who we are. But we're doing the same job.
Yeah.
Why not get to know the next city or next crew or district or division, because it's just going to be better cohesion, better working, better communication. It's good to see that kind of going away, because I know earlier in my career I saw it too. I'm like, why is everybody being dicks to other people for no reason? There's no reason to be that way.
But it's life too, right? Like the better relationships we have with the more amount of people, like we were talking about it beforehand, is like I get along with most every person I ever meet.
Yes, you do.
But that pays dividends in the long run for no matter what you're doing. You know what I mean?
And that's one thing I've always wanted to tell you is you've known me most of my life, and you have seen me in my highs, and you see me in my lows, you see me in my terrible mistakes. And the one thing I can say about you, Joe, which, I'm trying to get emotional here, but you stayed a true friend throughout all of it. And I wish more people were like that, because it's people like you with that attitude and that type of friendship that get people to change and do better. You know what I'm saying? I can't thank you enough. I'm trying to get emotional here, but anyways, we'll leave it at that. But no, dude, I just to let you know, I appreciate your friendship more than you know, dude. You've done a lot for me through life. That's why I'm really happy that you're on here with the podcast and talking about hot shot crew work. And dude, it's crazy knowing that we went from second grade to college, wild and stuff, and now we're working together again.
Yeah.
It's so wild where life
Full
goes.
circle.
Dude. You know what's a good story I have? Do you remember when you were getting ready for the season? You had like that fake chainsaw, and I think we went and hiked Turnbull Canyon. Was it me, you, and Mark? And I fell asleep on the way back in the car. Okay, so you guys know I fell asleep in the passenger front seat.
We're in my Ranger, right?
Yeah, and his Ford Ranger, he had this huge shifter from the hot shot buggy. He put it in there. Nice. It was all huge, and I'm just sleeping, and him and my buddy Mark Benavides, which Sam also knows, they just start screaming, and I just wake up screaming.
Yeah, it was a car. It was a car or a tow truck towing a car, so it was like facing us.
Shit. So you woke up to the car facing.
Dude, it was very emotional. I remember like a tear came out. I was like, my eyes got water. I thought we were gonna die.
Dude. It was so good.
Man.
Yeah, that fake saw, right? It was a 2x4 with a cinder block strapped to it. That was like my training saw.
That's legit.
Gangster shit, dude.
Dude, that's awesome.
Getting ready for the fucking season.
That's so funny. I love wow, this is way back. I used to like messing with people while I was driving, like if they fall asleep, like passenger side, like during the day. It was normally like when I did construction. But you'd leave scissors in your door, so you'd start cutting their socks while you're driving to fuck with them. So they wake up and they're like, "What the what the hell?
Why are you cutting people's socks?"
But that's way cooler. I wish that the opportunity was because that would be
man.
Yeah. I was screaming pretty. I thought we were gonna die.
Yeah,
I thought it was over, dude.
completely understandable.
Yeah, we made it.
yeah, we did.
Crazy.
Well, dude, what made you want to get into the fire service? I know we were explorers together, but like you came back and followed through to where you're at now. What was like your drive?
I have no idea. To be completely honest.
Yeah.
Like I knew I liked. I guess it would just be the. So my dad once told me like, as long as you work hard, you'll never be out of a job. So I always valued working hard. I just didn't know what that truly meant until I started doing the hotshot stuff, like what true hard work was.
No.
But I knew like we'd go backpacking over near like Mammoth area, and like I love that. I loved hiking. I loved being outdoors. I liked working with my hands. I was not a smart person, so I knew like I had to make it up with my work ethic. And I think that's what started kind of directing me down that path. I enjoy people and humans and interacting. So I think all that stuff, team environments, whatever, like that maybe is what directed me down that path.
Mm-hmm. You don't have to sell yourself short as far as you said you're not smart.
You're a smart guy.
You're very smart. Okay.
Well,
you couldn't do the things that you've done
true.
to get to the point where you're at without having maybe not like, a physics major or some, you know what I mean? But as far as like it takes, I think a lot of smarts to be in that, especially that portion. I mean, all the fire service, but within that one, like it's almost like your common sense knowledge and understanding of environmental change and what your capacity is, what your crew's capacity is. There's a lot of shit you're analyzing constantly in those environments. So it's like, just want to jump in there and say he is lying to all of you. He's a very smart individual. Anyway, sorry to.
It's more. I'm not good with numbers.
Hey, I'm not
numbers smart,
dude.
so I couldn't like be an accountant or something easier. I had to.
Up the game,
some
man.
sort of amount. But I enjoy human factors and how people work and that aspect of what we do, like, is my favorite part, and just trying to like navigate just how to get what needs to get across in a way that makes sense to every person I'm dealing with. So like maybe the leadership aspects of what we do, and just I enjoy all that.
Yeah.
It's cool you say that, because I would say there are a lot of leaders and people who teach, not just in the fire service, but, you know, JC colleges or university, that don't try to teach so everyone understands.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you better know it because this is how I said it. Like, well, hey, everyone learns a little bit different. So I can appreciate that, because when we're working or we're in training and someone's teaching something and they're kind of being an a-hole about it, you make someone not want to learn. Mm-hmm. So you're trying to like, well, how do I get people to want to be here and want to learn?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I'm not trying to like dummy it down, but you got to make it so everyone understands. That's the best way, you know, how you can empower people and make them better, you know?
Yep.
So I love that, dude. It's freaking awesome.
But I think that in itself is what makes a good teacher or instructor or whatever, especially for, I don't want to say non-school related stuff, but like on the job learning. Like, you need somebody to be able to break it down a different way. And the reality is that we all learn completely differently. Yeah, not like each individual, but there are groups that, you know, will learn from hard instruction. There's groups that learn from, I'm in the dummy down group. Like, I need things explained as most basic as possible.
Same.
But that's because I pick up on things quick and then can reapply that fast. You know what I mean? So like, that's my style of learning. Whereas like, you know, being in these positions now, like, that's really cool, because it sounds like everything in your career so far, it's like, it's kind of, you reach these points where it's like, it is your opportunity to give back. Yeah, you're stepping in a higher role, position, responsibility, management style, right? But the basis isn't just to do it. It's because you feel like you can impact the individuals that you're helping, right? Or leading or whatever, you know? And I think that that's cool. And whether it's on the job or in the school setting or however it is, I think if we had more people that would be like that, you would see just, I mean, we have a lot of people that are like that. So I don't want to cut it short. Like, yeah, it's like a bunch of, you know, not everyone's bad, but you know what I mean? Like, we all can pick in our minds of the instructors that we've had where you're like, dude, what's this guy's deal?
If that,
You know, yeah, totally. You know, so it's like, but I also think that that's probably what motivates you individually, right? You're like, well, never going to be like that person, because I didn't, you know, it didn't work for me, you know. So anyways, it's an interesting point at which in the career, right? It's like you're the hard worker, you get everything done, you do this for so long, and then now all of a sudden you're in the more leadership position where now it's like you have to still work hard, but be able to instruct, teach, lead, you know, in hopes that they'll get what you got out of it, you know?
Yeah, 100%. It's that, followership to leadership, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's a weird little, like, bridge you got to cross over. Mm-hmm. But, like, once you do it, it's super rewarding. And, I love it.
Well, you had 13 years on doing the wildland side. What made you want to kind of shift over and come to the city side? Because you're now working for a city or county department. You're not really in the wildland anymore, per se. But what made you kind of want to make that switch?
So it's, I never wanted to do it. Like, my plan for my life was to be a hotshot superintendent, retire at 57. Retirement's terrible, so I'd have to find another job doing something else, and whatever, be an AD, safety officer or something, like, or be an instructor at Rio Hondo, teaching other people. Like, that was my plan for my life. And then my captain at the time was like, hey, I'm going to take this test. Like, you should take it. I'm like, no, like, I don't even know how to do math anymore. Like, I haven't done math in 13 years. He's like, just take it. Hey, what's the worst that's going to happen? And take the test, and everything worked out, which, like, looking back now, like, there's a plan for our lives, you know what I mean? And
Absolutely.
Because that was it was either in 2018, 2009. I don't really remember when I started going through the process, but during that time, like, the wife and I were trying to have kids. Nothing's working, especially with the fire season, like we only have 6 months to go to the doctors and do our tests and everything like that. And then we started talking about adoption. And we started going through that process. And in 2019, we adopted our daughter.
Oh, dude, that's huge.
nice.
Hit that bell, baby.
Yeah.
Let's go.
That's rad.
That's so rad.
Yeah. So I was actually on the Getty fire with my old hotshot crew. They're hoteling us up, which doesn't happen too much. And my wife calls me and she's like, hey, our daughter's born. So she's born in Arizona.
Oh, okay.
She's like, yeah, our daughter's born. We don't necessarily know what's going to happen, but we should drive down there. So I get an Uber from LA, go back to my station, pick up my car, drive back to the house.
So you took an Uber from the fire?
Yeah.
That's so gangster,
Nice.
dude.
You're like, you see that burning hill? That's where I'm at. You
I
just,
love it,
drive
dude.
towards the
It was already out by then.
Oh, okay. I made for a cooler story.
Yeah, okay.
Family.
I'm sorry.
Helicopters over the horizon. I was standing there on 2 roads intersecting. I was getting my Uber. Yeah. No, I'm just...
That's cool, dude.
Dude, cool.
And then we drive to Arizona. It's probably like 2 o'clock in the morning at this time.
Damn.
And I remember just driving and like, I'm seeing like weird things on the road because I'm just exhausted.
I've been there. Yeah, that's
from
dangerous.
working all day. And I was like, hey, baby, you got to drive a little bit.
Yeah.
Like I'm seeing like snow plows on the road. And I'm like, what is a snow plow doing out here? So I have to pull over at a rest stop.
Odd place.
Yeah.
It says 90 degrees outside.
So we pull over, she drives for a little bit, and then we get there probably, I don't know, 8 o'clock in the morning. And then we meet up with like our social worker. She walks us in the hospital, and we meet the birth mother and our daughter, and she's been with us ever since.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Because I'm not.
You can ask whatever you want.
Okay, yeah. I just as far as one, amazing. I think that those like the adoption process and people that do that are, dude, gifts. You know what I mean? Like very cool that you open up that opportunity in your life for someone who probably will need it.
Yeah.
Right. Now in that, I know the process of it is long, right? The
Super
background checks and everything, that all the hoops you have to get through to get to the point, and then even up until the time that the baby is born. They can still like day of be like, we're out.
Yep.
Right. So you can finally like, conceptualize everything's going to happen, get everything in place, all this stuff. And then be like, the mom makes a decision that wants to keep the baby. Right.
Yeah.
So
So they can change their mind last minute like that?
Yeah. So it depends on where you're adopting from too. Like Arizona was, I think, two days.
2 days.
2 days after the birth, she had a chance to take the baby back.
Okay.
Which
That's got to be stressful.
it is stressful, but if how do I navigate this? If ultimately like that would be amazing. Like what is best for like our daughter? You know what I mean? At the end of it, like what would be best for our daughter? If it was for her birth parents to keep her and they do well and everything like that, like that is what's best for our daughter. But at that point, and we still keep in contact with the birth parents. My wife still sends her them
That's awesome.
pictures
That's
like
cool.
every week. We went and visited them last year in June, so they got to see her again.
wow.
And it's a rad experience. It's definitely different than what a normal experience is, but like they told us, like you guys are the people we wish we could be, but we can't right now.
Wow, that's heavy.
And it is heavy, you know?
very heavy, yeah.
And the thing I'm liking about it the most is that people struggle, especially we see it like every day on our jobs, on the calls we go to, like we may look at someone that's dealing with some sort of addiction or whatever, and then we miss the point that at some point they were a baby, they were a human, and the life went down a different path, and we forget the human side of this life that we're living. Wow. And this whole process allows me to see that, like, what a tough decision for them. You know what I mean? Like, how to be unselfish in a way to, like, you have 2 kids now, right?
Yes.
Like, how tough would it be for you to give your child to someone else? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it wouldn't happen.
It wouldn't happen, right?
Yeah.
So to,
but I see what I totally get what you're
Yeah.
talking about as far as like it's like a mix of like, because I think it's really easy to judge somebody in that position where you're just like, oh, you're offloading something of responsibility. Yeah, of course, it's probably an easy decision. And like, I don't agree with that at all, especially having someone who had gone through the entire process. It's not just like, you know, talking about it months out, you know, it's like actually going through the birth and then still staying on board with like, you know what, this is just going to be better for this baby. And obviously, what a fantastic opportunity to help people in your guys' position. You know what I mean? So it's like it all kind of works together.
Yeah.
But like you're saying, I that is a big. I can only imagine that being like a crazy determination level to get to, of being like, this is what's best, because I feel like I couldn't do that. You know?
Yeah.
But I mean, but even saying that, like, seeing, like, you know, I mean, we just met, so like, I'm not saying like I've known you for a long time or anything, but just like hearing the ability that you and your wife give them the opportunity to not be like heavily involved, but like you keep them up to date, you keep them, you know, and like you just said, you went and saw, you know what I mean? Like I've never heard that, you know, as far as, you know, I know people that have adopted and stuff, and it's normally just, you know, part ways and go on with it. So what a neat like opportunity on all sides, you know, to have happen.
And a big reason is too, like, we read books and things about that, and about like the trauma that it can bring and everything. When my daughter starts to understand, because she's 2 and like 4 months right now, so she still doesn't understand. Like, once she's able to understand, she'll know that she's adopted, and we want her to be in a place where, if she has the questions, the people are there to answer those questions the best they can, to help navigate whatever she's feeling at the time. You know, that's what we believe is going to be best. Mm-hmm. I have no idea, but that's our thought, you know?
Hey man, all you can do is have a game plan.
Yeah.
That's it. You know, and everything you'll probably have to adjust multiple times over the course of years, you know, but the fact is that you're putting yourselves in a position to make those decisions the best way you see fit, which is a lot to say versus a lot of other people's situations, opportunities, things like that. So it's like, yeah, dude, you know, who knows what happened, but hopefully the best, right? You know? Yeah, that's really cool. And, so are you guys planning on adopting another, or?
We'd love to, but it's not the cheapest thing. So, like, we had to pull out like pretty much all my retirement from the feds to kind of pay for it, you know.
Wow.
Which
Seriously?
I would do a million times over and over and over again. But
at least you're able to pull it.
Yeah,
you know, at least you can do it.
yeah.
But isn't that crazy? That's a thing.
I
Like,
thought the
why,
same
like,
thing.
it costs that much money to, like, you have like a set of people that want to create an environment for a child to grow up and thrive. Whatever, fill in the blank, right?
Yeah.
But you're providing that security, and you're taking on the responsibility of a human being, and they're gonna charge you. It's, from what it sounds like, is a lot. You know, that's crazy to me.
Yeah, it is, but it isn't, right? Because like we were talking about before, right? Like all the paperwork in the beginning, those are a bunch of fees you got to do, and the court and the lawyers and all those things, right? And then where the big chunk comes from is where the big chunk comes from is the we call it matching, right? Like you got to create these like profile books. You get a profile from the birth mother that says, you know, baby girl, baby boy, and a little bit about them. And then you're like, okay, would like to adopt this baby. We send them our profile book. They say yes. Then at that point, you're matched.
Wow.
From there, you're taking on the expenses ultimately to take care of that baby that's growing inside that mother, and it depends on what their social status is. So maybe they need a place to stay because they don't have a place to stay. So you're paying for that, their food, their phone, their medical, all those things. So that's where it adds up.
Okay, that makes sense.
And that's where, like, who cares, right? Like, ultimately, I'm doing it to take care of first my baby, but also the mother, you know? Like, who knows when the last time that mother has stayed someplace warm, you know?
Yeah.
Good point. Very good point.
So whatever, it is.
Just is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, like, we have our daughter, and
That's so rad, dude.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
dope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So actually, that's a dumb question. Never mind. I was just gonna say, like you said that they match you, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, I feel like at that point you're kind of just. I mean, were you and your wife? You're like, boy or girl, or we're just like, you know what? We're just gonna create whatever it is and then send it to the people and then let them put it together, or how does that kind of work?
So that's a trippy part too, because when you're filling out like your preferences, right, you have to go through like the easy things, like, do you rather a boy or a girl? We didn't care. The ethnicity of the baby, you have to check boxes of like what you prefer. Then it starts getting into like disorders. What drugs are you okay with the birth parents using? What ones aren't you okay with them using?
See, I didn't realize how detailed that was. I mean, it's
Yeah.
smart, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was weird. Like, we had to do research on like what drugs are okay for fetuses, what ones are going to completely mess them up. Like, and it was just like, wow, this is wild.
I'm sure,
super
man.
wild.
That's those are big decisions.
Yeah, and sorry not to like push on any of that, because like I feel like that's one of those things that maybe people would be judgy about.
100%.
Right?
100%.
So it's like, oh, why wouldn't you choose this versus that? Or what, because the mom was on this drug or not? You know what I mean? Like, it's also you are picking as to a certain extent, you know what I mean? Like, how you feel like is what's going to work, what's not going to work. I mean, that's such an interesting position to be in as far as getting feedback from other people.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah, no, it's what a wild, sorry, this is just a wild concept, and like, what an amazing one too, you know, rather than a kid being born and pushed into the foster care system or not being born really at all, right?
Yep.
So crazy.
Yeah.
2.5 years, you said?
4 months, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, she's born
She
October
talking?
30th. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Full sentences.
Dude, right.
I think he put a picture up for, was it Mother's Day or
Probably.
Father's Day? Well, I don't know.
I'm not a big Instagram.
No, but you creep. Motherfucker, I know you creep, dude.
big
But no, I saw a picture like you and the family. I was like, oh my God, she's getting so big. Like, I sound like that uncle. Like, oh my God, I remember when you were born.
Yeah.
But now I'm getting to that point with my nieces, nephews, and my friends' kids. I'm like, when did you get an opinion? Like, you were born like 5 years ago. What the heck is that about?
It is the wackiest thing, the coming to the ability to talk, because like my son's not like putting together full. He just turned 2, so he's like he's not quite there yet, but he talks like he's there. Like, so he'll just be like rambling about, I have no idea. Like, I'll pick up a couple words, but like nothing jives. And I'm like, you don't say. I'm like, but what do you think about this? It's like, did you ever see that? There was an Instagram video of I don't know if it was his dad or not, but it was this guy sitting next to like probably close to the same age kid, and they're watching a show, and he's like asking him questions, he's responding, and they go back and forth. Dude, I try to do that all the time. I think it's the funniest shit ever. I'm like, oh, you don't say. What do you think's gonna happen here? Like, put 20 down on the Lakers tonight, you know? So it's like, anyway.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick
cool.
with dogs, man.
Yeah.
One of you, I think Danielle, did she send in our group the picture of that little baby with a blowout all up their back of their doo-doo or whatever?
Oh, that's the best.
Oh, what do you mean, bro? I was like, nah, man, I'm good.
Wait, what do you mean? You do that with
shower.
grown adults?
This
Touche,
is true.
dude.
This is true. This is true.
Right? It's easier when it's a kid. 'Cause
Yeah.
At least you can.
Is
like-
it though?
Yeah.
I think so.
I don't know.
I just go right to the shower.
I have a hard time with feces, dude, on other human beings.
Yeah, it's gross, man. It's poop. It's still gross, but
'Cause
it's
I
it's a
remember my
little
niece-
kid. You're like, they
Yeah,
don't know
like
any better.
my nieces and nephews, when I would watch them and I have to clean them, I never wiped them. I had that detachable shower head, and
Yeah.
I'd hold them like a football and just spray their little behinds and throw some powder on them and let them run around.
Yeah.
And my sister or my sister-in-law would come over and be like, why are they naked? I'm like, it's just easier.
It's just easier. You're not far out. I mean, that's it. You pretty much got it down. And all it is just keeping them clean. That's really it.
Oh.
And I feel like when
And
they're
feeding
little,
'em.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's a couple other things. So I'm changing them. But I feel like when they're little, it's like they're little kids. You know, they can't make it. They're not trying to do that.
Right.
Whereas like in
grown
our
adult.
profession, I'm like looking at them like I'm super judgy in that position to a certain extent. Very old. I get it. Not able to do it. But it's like you could have chosen a different path here.
Yes.
I don't have to empathize completely with the shit covered all over you.
Yeah.
You know, I'll still help you.
Yeah.
But I'm upset because now I have poop on me. You know, and that's gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Now, how does your like what you went through with trying to have? Because I know that like trying to conceive is difficult, and sometimes it just doesn't work, whatever it may be. But you adopted your daughter, and it's honestly is a beautiful story. But how did your faith kind of play into all this in your life? And you're making these big moves, right? You're adopting a child. You changed careers, not changed, but you went from 13 years in a career, and now you're in a new spot. I mean, has your faith played a lot in this?
So let's start with the having babies. So it was a trip, right? Like I had to decompress stuff because like growing up, we always thought like you look at a girl weird, like she's going to get pregnant. You
Oh, Sam knows this. Yes.
It's like,
You hold hands, she gets
Yep.
pregnant, dude.
like all these things, right?
from yours.
And
Yeah.
then
Sam got kicked out of school. They investigated him at private school for having a girlfriend.
yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. So there's all that, right? And then how sin plays a part in what happens in our life. Like I remember times where like we'd lose a basketball game and I was like, dude, what kind of sin did I do that we lost our basketball game? So that played a part in like we're not getting pregnant because I've sinned, you know?
There's something in my life that's off. Right?
Yeah, there's something I did.
That's how we were raised.
So it was having to like decompress that part and like maybe, and then start getting into like the scientific aspect of it. You know what I mean? Like what hormones are off, like,
Yeah.
because doctors couldn't really figure out, they couldn't like pinpoint like what it was.
The exact reason, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So faith in that part was more of like changing my thoughts on what I used to think from growing up in a Christian school to maybe either it's what the truth is or what my new truth was about why things happen, and then just gaining life experience, right? Like, because when I first joined my hotshot crew, it was in Bakersfield.
Yeah.
So I had to live out there, and I'm living in a house with a bunch of people that, like, I was sheltered, right? So I went to our Christian school from K4 to 12th grade.
Man, you should have been a pastor, bro.
Yeah, in that
4 to 12, baby.
in that bubble, and then I get put in a situation with dudes from every walk of life, every different age. One guy I lived with was like an ex-inmate that is now on the hotshot crew. And it was just like culture overload, you know? Like, and I'm learning now that like there's these people out there that do all these things, but they're still like good individuals. Like they still have good hearts, even though they're not Christians, or even though they're doing these things that were super frowned upon. Like deep down inside, they're still good people. You know what I mean?
Still human, yeah.
Yeah. So it started again, like changing how, like, whether, I don't think I was ever necessarily judgy person, but it definitely changed my reference on like humans and what relationship with God or creator or whatever you want to call it is. And I guess the more I interact and the more I listen to different points of view, the more my faith changes.
Yeah, you know, man, you bring up a good point because maybe Sam and Jordan, you guys can speak on this too, because we all kind of grew up in that religious type home, right? Christian, whatever. But I kind of went through the same thing in my 20s, where it's like we grew up and it's like if they're not Christians or go to church and these people, fucking sinners, they're evil. And you get out and you actually get some real life in your belt and you realize like, dude, everyone's just trying to figure out their purpose and why and trying to figure out this life. And everyone's has difficult times they're trying to deal with and figure out. It's like you got to show grace. And I would say some of the kindest, most beautiful people I've ever met have been people who weren't even believers, dude. And that's what kind of threw me for a loop and really started changing me a lot. I'm like, there's something to it. It's like you said, you're experiencing different cultures. Some people may have made mistakes. They've been to jail. Doesn't mean they're a bad person. They paid the price. They learned. They're out. They're working with you now. Now they're doing an honest day's hard work. You know, it's like they shouldn't have to live in that past.
Exactly.
Let them move on. It's like, I'll say it for one. I've made some mistakes in my life, but it's like I've moved on. I've done better. You just learn. That's part of life.
But the trip is, right, we judge people off of like these few seconds of their whole entire life of this one mistake they made. And what about the other whatever years and all the good things they've done, but they make a one mistake within, even 2 years of their life of making mistakes. And now they're put into this bubble in your mind. And it's just like, it's crazy to me, But I was also could have been part of that. But I think just enjoying humans as a whole, like, has allowed me to look past that and seeing that people can be good. They're just stuck in something, and how easily we can get stuck in something if we just slowly start going down different paths. We could be on the street somewhere shooting up just as easy as the next person.
Yeah, I think that's it's an interesting point, especially from the perspective, like Tim, we were saying, like everyone, we've all kind of had like a religious upbringing. You guys definitely within the school and on top of being at home, things like that. So growing up that way, I think it's very easily like once you do hit a certain age and you're out on your own, that's I think where like your spiritual journey starts. Right? Because you are going to be tested. You're going to either not believe anymore or maybe reinforce some stuff or change your perspective on what the belief really means. And I think that's what is the disservice part of like a lot of times with long-term like youth church involvement, from what I see, is that because you grow, and I think this is not specific to church. This is for any group-oriented, it's like your tribe kind of, right? You grow up that this is the way, this is everything, this is what it is, and then, from that position of being in a group, it's very easy to cast judgment, especially from a religious group, on other people who live their lives differently. Whereas as you get out of that and you're either reaffirming what your beliefs are or changing those perspectives because of your involvement with other people. Because exactly what you said I had a lot of experiences just like that. My interaction with people ended up being with non-believers and people who were, maybe, either party hardy or a lot of, crazy events, things like that. But or bad decisions where they've been in trouble with the law and having those kind of backgrounds, it doesn't mean that they're bad people. And that's where you're along your spiritual journey or God, whatever it is that you want to call it, that's where you learn the different sides of things. And I think that's very important for everyone to go through, because if you only, grow up one way, to me, that's being closed-minded. Like you should put yourself in uncomfortable positions and meet new people, because otherwise, how do you gain perspective? Yeah. Whether it's good or bad, you know what I mean? But that's the only way to do it. So it's cool hearing people's interactions with that. And then whether you're strong within your faith or not, or maybe have a different version of it, that's what makes you more confident, I think, as you get older. So, yeah.
Cool. And like, I do understand maybe like what we dealt with, right? Because if you look at like our church and the pastors that were founding that church, like if you look back at their life and their testimony, right? Like ex-drug addicts running through the woods naked, all these crazy
70s and 60s, bro.
Yeah, hippie surfers, right? And like the way I compare it is if you're overweight and you want to get in shape, like, do you have to be disciplined? Do you have to cut everything out? You have to stop talking to these friends that always want to go out and drink, and you got to really focus on doing weights and waking up early, and you got to be super disciplined in what you do to get to your goal, right? Same with these people, right? They find Jesus, and they have to then be, we'll call it legalistic, but they have to dive into it in a way that they'll never go back to where they came from.
Right.
And then those are the human beings that are now forming this church, which they're just giving their perspective of how God worked for them and what put them on the path. And then they're teaching that. And then it snowballs into something where if you drink alcohol, like, you're going to hell. If you do all these things, like, you're going to be bad, because for them, it's true. You know what I mean? Like, for my parents coming from alcoholic families and things like that, like, alcohol was off limits. Now, like, they'll drink wine here and there, but they needed that.
Yeah.
They needed that in their life, because if not, who knows what path they would have went down.
It's a very interesting way you just described that. I think that's really like
Very deep.
Yeah, but it's a good way to explain that, because very much so, like with the workout stuff, right? If someone's trying to get their physique to a certain level, that person may take the extreme to do it. Like, that's the only way they're going to be able to do it. Whereas it's the same thing, whether they're drug addicts or, whatever, party people that can't stop sleeping. Well, I don't know how to use that term, but whatever that is for you, if you need an extreme adjustment to go down the faith route, maybe for them, that is the workout routine where it's like, you got to cut everything else out. Whereas, like, that's not for everybody.
Yeah.
A lot of people can be functional in that and understanding having limitations, being able to do that. So it's like, if you're not all in, you're out. That approach to it sometimes is tough. And I think that just the way you describe that was kind of cool. Like, I'm going to use that later.
I know. I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, I was like, Sam, he's got something.
Like Jordan.
Yeah. And this too, like, we'll bring up people I know that have their own faith. I like to ask them, only because, again, it's not that I'm not trying to shit on people who are believers or have faith, but I know I had to change some things once I started getting some life experience to my own faith and what I believe. And church isn't for me. I don't go at all, or sometimes I've been to yours. It doesn't mean I still don't believe there's a creator and there's a higher power and a God, So there's a lot of things that life experience has just taught me and changed me, It's like, I'm not going to be that certain way. It's just not me. But Sam, what's your thought on this, man?
So you guys have said a lot of amazing things. Jordan, you said something that hit me. The spirituality begins when you leave the church. When you've been taught all these things, when you leave the school or the church that's spiritual, that's when spirituality begins. And that hit me because I meditate, try to meditate every day. And there's one thing that they say, man, is meditation, awareness, mindfulness begins when the guided meditation is over. That's when you meditate, when you're in your everyday life, And Joe, same thing. I left in 11th. Well, I got kicked out in 11th grade. And it was great, man.
Very good, Sam. Very good, Sam. Very good.
Yeah, man.
Rebel you.
Yeah, man. It was crazy.
Yeah.
When I got, removed from the school, I went to public school for 1 year, and it was crazy. It was a culture shock. And just going and seeing, like, not only is it a culture shock, but there's a ton of people in public school. Public schools are huge. Yeah. And I went to La Mirada, and there were maybe 2,000. It was a huge graduating class, and then you have every other grade, and it was insane. Just walking onto campus, third period, and just it was a flood. Like I felt like I walked into the ocean, and it just smacked me. And then it's funny, man. You just gravitate to those people that that look most like you, that act most like you. With me, it was football and basketball. And they were like, dude.
And the rappers.
Right, and the rappers, bro. You rap? Do you lift?
Take me to it.
He's like, let me throw that in there.
Yeah,
like,
ever since Sam told us that, people always ask him, "Are you a rapper?"
Yeah.
Right,
So
bro.
awesome.
It's either sports or rapper, bro. It's one of those. Yeah, it's just crazy, man. Just crazy that culture
Wait,
shock.
I don't get it. Why rapper?
You hear his voice?
Nice. I like that. Nice.
That was good, bro. And his face though.
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
Yeah, what
Why
are you talking
rapper?
about, Joe? Those are done.
Anyway.
No, it's cool to get everyone's perspective on that because Joe, you brought it's such a good point, dude. We've talked. I talked about this the other day with Justin and some other people. It's like, man, the way we were raised, I'm like, honestly, I look back and I'm thinking, our parents are winging it. They don't know.
Yep.
They're trying to figure out the best way to raise us, right? And back then, in those days, like, church was huge in the '90s, like big deal, right?
Yeah.
Which it probably still is now for a lot of people, but. I think about you guys having kids, and I think I'm like, I'm gonna have kids one day. Like, how am I gonna do this? And it hit me. I'm like, my parents didn't know either. So it's like you give them grace. It's like they were trying their best.
Dude, we're all people.
Yeah, I'm just,
Everyone's from the bottom up to whatever levels of society. I mean, we're all just people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's I don't feel like a concrete, this is how you do it. And especially parenting. Like, you know what I mean? Like you try to instill moral foundational things, I think, for your kids, and whatever, if that is reinforced with church or reinforced with just personnel, thoughts or whatever that is, you just do your best.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. Like, and I'm still so new in this. Like, I'm talking like I've been doing it for a while. I really haven't, and I'm in full wing it mode all the time. And I am most definitely. My wife is like way more the rock in this. I'm the helicopter parent of like, oh no, this is gonna happen. Running around, he's just like that, naked with some powder on his ass, trying to jump over the couch, and I'm like, no, just in case. Anyway, but so it's crazy, but that's what you're trying to do, I think, and and I think church has a lot to offer in that realm, especially for really young, like when the kids are real young.
yeah, I think it teaches them a solid base.
Yeah, and I think as you get older into the preteen and other stuff, depending on what the other influences are with the kid's age, right? It's like, are all their friends in private school, or is half, and then a couple are in public school? And because, like Sam, like you said, I didn't go to private school. I went to public school my whole life. And I definitely, so bouncing between that and church was very interesting because I had my friends that were from church, and then I had my friends that were not. And so the conversations were completely different on both ends of that.
Yeah.
So it's like, now is that good? You can argue both sides of that argument. You can say, yeah, because you learn how to intermingle with different ideologies and what important things are and what are not, and being able to build your own character within that. Or you can make the argument that it's confusing as shit, and you're going to go with whatever the easiest one is to that person's feelings, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, again, it's like, I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. I just think at the end of the day, we're all people trying to figure it out. And like you said, it's like, yeah, dude, your parents are just like, what do we do? Well, I think church is good. It seems like it helps a lot of people. We're gonna get heavy into that.
Yeah.
Or having like family backgrounds, and maybe when they were younger, they didn't like how they were brought up, so they instill church because they feel that this is the right way to go.
And I've thought about that. It's a good point because like my mother she was super poor, 17 brothers and sisters from the South, Mississippi. They grew up in literally like a tin home. I've seen it.
Wow.
Shack. Where, there's certain movies you see older people or kids sleeping head to feet. That's what they did. Huh. It's just crazy stuff. And she came out here. She dropped out of high school at 17, brought I think 6 or 8 of her brothers and sisters on a train to California just to get a better life.
Wow.
So there's a lot of stuff that happened during that time. You're poor. She's also African-American. A lot of racism in the South during that time. And then also like my dad, he was wild. He was a wild ass man, dude. Now, my dad, he is a straight warrior. Dude's gangster, right? But before that too, he also was a freaking madman. He had a good time. So I can see those two coming together, and now they're raising kids, why they were getting so strict or had, the rules and stuff, where I was like, oh, you guys are no fun and they're so strict. But you look at it as an adult and you're like, okay, now I can kind of see why.
Totally.
You tried your best. It's all good.
Oh, yeah.
I tell my mom, like, I'm definitely not raising my kids the way you guys raised me. Well, we tried our best. I'm like, I know, Mom, but if I have kids, it's going to be a little different.
But that's just the progression, right? As you learn, how your style of life is going to be and what's important to you is what you will inevitably instill in your children.
Yeah.
So whether that's very extreme faith-based or however that moral foundation I don't want to say no moral foundation because that's super important, but
Yeah.
or at least to me, I think it's important. But yeah, you're just going to do what,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? You're going to try to make whatever you dealt with better.
Right. And Joe explained it right because they were both kind of that radical conversion.
Yeah.
They were drugs, partying, doing their thing, right? 60s, 70s, 80s, they changed their lives, and now they have kids like, well, we're going to raise them this way, so.
Yeah.
But
And I think that foundation has done me well. You know what I mean?
oh, yeah. I don't regret it.
Yeah.
I hear like I said to Jordan, I think that Christianity, church, religion, whatever you want to call it, it does bring a strong base because there's a lot of me that, going through my life, I fall back on that. Doing the right thing. And you hear all these verses, do unto others, you should do yourself, love your neighbor. These are all great moral foundations for everybody. You don't have to just be a Christian or believer. It just makes you a good human overall.
Yeah.
So to talk about actually Hot Shot Up. Now, before we talk about the organization, because I know it's near and dear to your heart, in the Forest Service, is there a high rate of cancer like it is in the municipal side? Mental health, all that?
Yes, both, but it's not talked about like it is within our department. So I always thought like wildland smoke, like, oh, it's natural, it's not bad for you. I did not learn that it was bad for you until I was in the academy with our
Current agency?
Our current agency.
Okay.
I did not know, and I was like, are you kidding me? Because I wouldn't shower for 14 days. I'd wear the same shirt and pants for 14 days, sleep in them. I would change my underwear and socks every 7 days.
Gangster.
That's what I would do. And
Wow.
I had no idea. And I got to push it off to the side because there's nothing I could do about it at this point.
Yeah.
And we're starting to see like one of my old superintendents just passed away.
Oh, damn.
I think 2 years ago now from cancer. Okay. But we're seeing more and more and more of it. Most likely from the job. He was a longtime hotshot, did it forever. And yeah, it's hitting us more. The only difference is within the Forest Service, it's not like it is with us, because as we get cancer right, they pretty much, most cancers they're going to say comes from the job, and we're going to get covered and things like that. As of I know, the feds don't have that. There's no coverage for it.
As far as presumptive coverage.
That's the word I was looking for. Yep.
Wow.
So it is what it is. Mental health is a huge thing that's coming up now, but it's more of like a grassroots project, right? It's not the department necessarily. We do have phone numbers we could call, but
Is it more the members starting to take a hold and start their own organizations?
there's
take care of each other?
there's some soups that are like really like spearheading.
Okay.
And a soup is the person that's in charge of a hotshot crew. They're called superintendents. There's one, the El Dorado Hotshot Soup, has a lot of really good stuff going on with mental health and
Very good.
Even going down the path of like using different drugs and things like that to help with that.
Mm-hmm.
And he has been a big component for like mental health, which is just super rad to see, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like I would even notice it, right? I'm living with these guys for 6 months. We are kind of detached from society on fires, and then I would come back and try and intermingle with like friends we know, and I'd go to like parties because it's getting around like Christmas time, and I just like, it was too much, like sensory overload, right? I've been out in the sticks for 14 days and just trying to like get back to like normal life, and just things people are complaining about, it, like didn't really make sense to me. Like it was just too much. And not until like, and then like little depressions would set in. And then finally, like around January, like I'd start becoming normal again. And the next fire season would hit and the same thing would happen. It's just like super weird, but I was able to kind of mentally like pick those things apart and why it was happening and just understand what was happening. But like the suicide rates are going up for people within the wildland community. And I think just a lot of it is social pressures and just everything going on.
I'm sure. And a lot of people don't understand too, like when you work for the Forest Service, Cal Fire, BLM, sometimes even the city, but in order to, make the hazard pay or make decent money, is you have to be gone.
Yeah.
You have to work. So you're talking, when you're on the Forest Service, they could send you to Alaska, Montana, I mean, anywhere in the U.S., right? Yep. Pretty much to do stuff.
100%.
So you're gone from your family. You're gone from your friends. Granted, who we work with, that's, our family. But that's a long time away from your legit loved ones.
Yeah.
And that's hard, right? You're missing birthdays, holidays. You're exposing yourself to all this cancer. And so people also know our wildland firefighters, it's not like when you see a municipal, or I should say city fire department, when they're fighting fire, they have this, air pack on, they're breathing. There's none of that for our wildland firefighters. You're sucking in all that smoke and dirt. There's a lot that you're exposed to, on top of the mental stress of being away from home and having to do your job, and you're missing all these holidays and birthdays, whatever. So I don't think a lot of people understand the wildland side and what our wildland firefighters go through, which is why, I think it's so great when firefighters start there or even stay there.
Yeah.
I think it gives you a great work ethic. That's where I started. Whereas what I think is funny, like I come to the city side and you hear guys complain, oh, there's no cheese on the table at lunchtime. This guy's so fucked up. Like, bitch, like I was in the forest there. Yeah, I was
4 months.
Yeah, I was constipated for 3 years after that MRE.
And I think that's like, it's just so like, because with the hot shots, you guys are on 21-day rotations, right?
14 usually. Most likely 14. We can extend to 21.
Okay, because you have the option to extend.
Yes.
Like I think he worked for, it was El Carizo.
Yeah.
But he would be gone for 3 or 4 months at a time. Like, even though he would have a day off and they go right back into it. But that's how he made money, And I think as like a younger person's perspective within starting there, it's probably good for the first year or two. It's fun. You're meeting people. You're kind of establishing these friends. You get done with the season. You got a bunch of money in the bank. And depending on how you are financially, a lot of people that I know, they spend a lot of it because they're enjoying the fruits of their labor. However, for being in that position, I think long-term, that is really tough because now we're these social interactions now, right? Like, are you trying to start a family? Are you trying to establish that sort of lifestyle? And now when you mix that schedule and the type of, people, because I can imagine it's very split. It's probably a lot of young people, and then you have your lifers,
yep,
right? Or long-term,
career.
Yeah. So it's like you kind of are in this different realm, and if you're making that determination, like, hey, I'm going to stay and do this for a while, and now you want to have kids, and now you want to have a family, or whatever, and it doesn't have to be those things, but whatever responsibilities that you're trying to establish outside of the career, it can weigh on you. I mean, it's like we've all done this job where, like, yeah, it's fun in the beginning. It's just you're just doing it, or at least that was my experience. It's very easy to manage that. But, over time, whether it's not even trying to start a family, but it's you're trying to like set things up for yourself long term, all these outside things that take effort to do. Now it's difficult to manage that, pace that you'd set for yourself, and now doing things outside of the job. So that's fantastic to hear that they're at least spearheading things. I didn't know that there wasn't anything available within that realm for like hot shots and stuff.
I mean, there is, but so
it's still taboo type of thing.
It's not even taboo. It's just more that so they're not considered firefighters. So that's one of the things they're dealing with, and that's why their pay is so terrible.
That bums me out, dude.
They're considered forestry technicians. So then when you're calling into this hotline, you're getting someone usually that is not trained to necessarily deal with the type of person that they're trying to help, right? Because it's not it's not firefighter specific like what we get.
Right.
So they don't understand.
It's hard to talk to somebody who doesn't know what we deal with.
Yeah.
Or what we go through.
And it's not even close to as good as like what we have now. And then, but there are phone numbers people could call out there. It's just,
It's different.
it's different, right?
Yeah.
And the other thing is like I didn't notice this until I left, because this is the most time I've ever spent with my wife since we've been married, because I've been gone for 6 months at times. You know what I mean? I'd spend a little bit of time with her during the winter. But then I was gone, right? And how much we have to detach mentally from people at home to then perform well out there. Like slowly you're starting to just like shut off those things that would matter to normal people. And then once I started my new career, like I'm home with my wife and it's a brand new relationship. Like,
Say for the better, right?
for the better, but we had to learn how to communicate again. And we're still working on it, right? Because now we have a kid, and that puts another damper. But I was realizing that like all these things I would have to shut off in my mind, like, because I couldn't worry what was going on at home. I had to worry about the people I'm in charge of to ensure that they would come home safely, and all these different things that I built that up over a career. So then when I was home, I'm detached from home because I don't know how to communicate in that way anymore. Which is like a super weird thing, and I never noticed it, but I think that's like what our military deals with in those people, right? They have to turn off these receptors in their brain so they can focus on what's going on right now, and then they come back and they're like, I don't know how to love in this way anymore. I don't know how to be romantic.
Or the way you troubleshoot not working at home is completely different than how you handle things at work. And then, I mean, I can only imagine having been gone for 6 months at a time, or like military, like full on deployments for a year. You know, you're around these, you have a certain way you are to get things done. And that's just a fact. That's just how things work. Not that they couldn't be better, but sometimes you figure out what works. And when you have that, and it's like the repetition, right? That's what you do day in, day out. Whatever your detachments are from like regular life versus when going to work, I don't know anybody, because everyone kind of does it, but you take that home with you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And so there's always this like little bit of a reset. Like, it's like, for example, I'm super annoying because when I get home, the first thing I do is I want to clean, because every single day I'm at work, the first thing I do is clean.
Oh yeah.
Whether it's cleaning my own stuff or the group stuff, or handling the engine, whatever the case is. But it's fast and it's aggressive to get things done. And I struggle with that a lot, because sometimes I come home, my wife's like, "What are you doing? Like, you just got home, you've been gone for 5 days or 4 days, whatever it is." And like the first thing you're doing is like, doing the baseboards. You know what I mean? And my house is clean. So it's like, it's not even like it looks bad, but then I can understand that, because sometimes that looks like you're being offensive to the other person. Like they're not picking up what you're doing. Mm-hmm. So it's like, and that's on a short-term scale. So I can only imagine being gone for those swaths of time where like you're getting back into the way of the day-to-day life and your relationships, and just being able to communicate, whether that's like just being in the same room or like, coming up with how you're going to approach something. It's a process for sure. Yeah. No, it's not, some people are probably better at it than others, but, the struggle I think is for everybody. And like, you just kind of learn what works and what doesn't.
Yep.
And I'm like the guy you got to tell me like 20 times and then I'll get it. So, I got you, babe.
And then you'll mess it up again.
In fact,
I'll have to tell you.
It will happen. Yeah, no, for sure.
Now, what is Hot Shot Up about?
Okay, so Hot Shot Up started, actually, we were on a fire in Arizona on the Mogollon Rim. I don't know if you guys ever been over there.
Mogollon Rim, no.
Yeah. Most people call it the Mongolian Rim, but it's the Mogollon.
Okay.
It's a rad little area. Kind of like a Grand Canyon-ish. And I think we were like mopping up, and we were just talking about, because we would play volleyball at our camp
Hell yeah.
Every Wednesdays after work, we called it 701 Club, and we'd hang out, play volleyball, drink beers, and just have a good time, you know?
Yeah.
And then we're just talking about how messed up it is that, like, there's not really, there's things in place, but if, you know, a Fed firefighter passes away, they're not taken care of as well as possibly someone on the municipal side. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's definitely things in place where people come in, but we wanted to take the things we like, you know, playing volleyball, drinking beer, and use that culture, that mindset to then help those that needed help, right? So line of duty death is what we're going towards, right? So Hot Shot Up was formed to help those people. We ended up partnering up with the Hot Shot Association.
Okay.
For our first, so it started in like 2017. We did 17, 18, 19 with volleyball tournaments. Then stuff ended up happening where
It's because the current shutdown, right?
Yep,
Yeah,
current
gotcha.
shutdown. We couldn't have big groups together and things
Right.
like that, so it kind of went away, and then we're bringing it back this year.
Good.
So we use that event to raise money to give to the families of those that have passed away. This year, we are doing in honor of two different people. So Matthew Watt, and right now it's specific to Hot Shots.
Okay.
Because we're with the Hot Shot Association.
Perfect.
Hot Shot Up is becoming its own nonprofit, so at some point we're going to branch out and cover no matter municipals, federal, things like that, looking to help as many people in our line of work as possible. So Matthew Watt is one of the individuals. He battled stage 3 cancer, beat it, and now has stage 4 cancer.
Oh no. Wow.
So he is a husband, 15 years, 3 boys, and doesn't necessarily have a knock on wood. Hopefully he beats it again, but things aren't looking good. So the funds are going to go to him and help his family through this time because based upon what I know about where he works and things like that, he probably doesn't have the income to help support what's going on. He can't necessarily work. So I'm sure it's tough, right? And the other is Daniel Laird. You guys may have heard of it, but the helicopter crash in Texas, prescribed burn.
I heard of that. Yeah.
Yep.
I heard about that.
So he was, he grew up in like the firefighting in the Tahoe area. But yeah, he was out there in a prescribed burn with the helicopter, and it ended up crashing. He passed away. And then I think within this year, his widow passed away too, leaving his daughter's 11 years old, so leaving her. So
That's heavy, dude.
yeah.
So you can donate to Hot Shot Up through Hot Shot Up. Do you have a website, or
Yeah.
how can we like
So-
get a hold of this?
The website is hotshotup.com. So if you jump on there, you could donate directly. You can also, other ways to donate, right, is either people's times, because we need volunteers to help work.
You saying at the event, the,
At-
the volleyball tournament?
Yeah, so
Okay.
the volleyball tournament is at San Buenaventura State Beach. It's April 9th. So financially, people could donate. They could set up a volleyball team and actually play, and those funds do go to the donation. And then even donating people's times, right? We need like refs and just people to help set things up. So whatever way, or just showing up and showing your support. There's raffles.
Awesome. Okay, so people know.
See that?
Is that it right there? Can you see it, Sam? Pull back, or is that good?
There it is. Yeah, it's good. Right there.
Okay.
Hot Shot Up.
Super easy. Hotshotup.com.
Okay,
Yeah,
so people can show up on April 9th. They can donate. They can be referees. They can donate their time and help out. And also, what is the Instagram account for Hot Shot Up?
So it's a hotshot_up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Heck yeah.
And April 9th, who was the founder of Hot Shot Up? Do you know his name?
Yeah. So the founder is Anthony Powers.
Okay.
Who was my captain on the Dalton Hot Shots when I worked there.
Okay.
Now he's moved on to a municipal department also.
Okay.
But he's the founder, and then we have Ryan Walker, who's on the board.
Okay.
And he was also Dalton Hot Shots, but also moved on to a municipal department. And then I'm not on the board yet, just because I don't have necessarily all the time in the world to spend to helping. So I told him, hey, don't throw me on the board yet, but I'll be a silent helper, you know?
Yeah.
Oh.
So those are the two that are kind of on the board that are spearheading most of the work. But the big thing is the most money we people to donate things, companies, if companies listen to that, it helps too, as like donations with things that we could raffle off, because that builds the money. But ultimately it's bringing human beings together to help other individuals out and have a good time doing it is the mindset I think we all share. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Though it's tragic, we celebrate what these individuals are doing, and to help these families see that this community will always be there to support like-minded individuals, I think helps also, you know?
Absolutely.
In the past events, we've had fathers come by where their sons passed away on fires, and just to see
you're making an impact, huh?
Yeah,
You know
and-
it's directly affecting these people's lives
Yeah,
in a
and
positive way.
and just that, like, their memory isn't forgotten, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
they've done great things for our world, and to see us come together and celebrate those people, I think pays dividends on the family's lives. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And the involvement, and then giving everyone a platform to be able to share their stories, or, you know, I know it's specified with, you know, the involvement with the unfortunate events that occur more recently, but like you're saying, it's like someone can hear this and get involved and be like, yeah, my brother or my cousin, my dad, my son, whatever, you know, you lose that. And then that kind of gives a networking opportunity, because there's so much to gain from having that kind of support network. And that's amazing that you guys are doing this, you know, just I mean, like, at the end of the day, there's not a lot of things out there. There isn't.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that, like, I'm not saying it's anyone's fault that there isn't, but having those, like you said, like-minded individuals to be able to start things up like this, to do that, really, really impacts the people's lives who've had to deal with such a tragic event.
Yeah.
You know, so
That's our hope.
awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, for me, the wildland side for us, it'll always have a special place in my heart, because that's where I started my career. So I want, I'm glad you came on and talked about this, because we want to support our wildland firefighters, our hot shot crews. Life is here and gone. We spend a lot of our time working. The most important thing is our families, and knowing we have people to take care of us. So anybody listening, go to hotshotup.com.
Yep.
And then further Instagram, it's hotshot_up, right?
Yep.
And they can donate. We need referees, teams, volunteer time. Please give us things to raffle off. That'd be amazing. But yeah, dude, we're going to wrap this up. We have some questions for you, dude.
I've been studying.
We just rolled
Have you?
rolled into some deep stuff. We're going to go really far in the other direction, okay? All right. Okay, that was a fun one. All right. Would you rather be the best looking dude in the world, or be able to read minds?
Read minds.
Too fast of an answer. Go.
Read minds.
Okay, also fast. Sam?
Same. Read minds.
I'm gonna be the best looking man in the world. I don't give a shit what anyone thinks at that point.
I think I may have answered that too quick, though.
I'm just kidding. Reading minds would be sick.
It would be sick, but then you'd have to have a strong mind yourself because
The ability to control what you are hearing is the problem. Because I don't want to hear what everyone thinks at all the time. Because then you'd be just bummed out. You'd be like,
But you just said the ability. You didn't say like I can turn it off and on, right?
Let me cross-reference this, Sam. Good point. Or be able to read minds, which sounds like you would be controlling it. So I could be like, right now, Sam, what are you thinking? You don't like this shirt. Okay, got it. You know what I mean? Anyway, I'm still good.
Yeah.
Best looking in the world. Look it.
You already are.
I knew it.
Oh,
You see what I did?
stop.
I love that.
All right. What is the fiercest animal you think you can take in a fight?
Fiercest animal to fight. Bigfoot.
Confidence.
Yeah.
Bigfoot.
Well, I know you could probably hike if you had to get out of there. And yeah, that's where I'd go down.
I think Bigfoot.
Bigfoot.
Fiercest animal?
Yeah.
I don't know, dude, because these animals are tough. Super tough. You can't take on an ape. They'll rip you in half.
Yeah,
They'll rip your face off. Remember that happened to that lady?
He said Bigfoot. So I wouldn't. Either of those two things, especially, or a chimpanzee,
you
they
could.
like rip your face and genitals off. That's like their move. I'd do like a mongoose or something because they're fierce, but like they're just small. So I feel like use a shovel or something.
No,
Fuck that. The question doesn't say hand to hand, by the way. Yeah.
I'm going to go with my original because we've answered this before. I'm going to say a lemur. I think lemurs can be pretty, they got hands. They could be crazy, dude.
lemur.
Lemur. Remember Madagascar?
Yeah.
Running around?
Oh, that's a lemur.
That's a lemur, dude.
I was just trying to
It's got
picture
the
what a lemur
headdress
looked like.
on.
It's kind of like a meerkat.
Can do it. Do it.
Yeah.
He can be tough, he has to be. You know what I'm saying, dude?
Sam, what are you taking on, dude?
Why are we going like zoo animals, bro? I fuck with a cat. Fuck that shit. Ooh. Yeah. Cats are hard.
Cats are mean.
They're crazy and they're mean, but they're small. And I don't know. I'm just gonna.
They're
say
heartless.
They
don't.
are.
They don't give a shit when you walk in the door.
Shit, bro.
They don't care about you.
Nope.
I feel like any animal that has the capacity of being bitchy, I am not a fan of.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's like I have to impress you. I'm like, get out of here.
Exactly.
I provide shelter and food. If you don't like it, get the fuck out.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Here, Jordan, I got a question. It's the last one. It's from the pod deck, okay?
All right.
What is one thing you hope to do before you die? What is one thing you hope to do before you die? It's a tough one, huh?
Yeah, it's super tough.
I'll go first.
Yeah, you go first.
I want to
Let
get
me
my
think about
pilot's
this.
license. That's one thing. Once I finish my master's degree, that's the next thing I'm doing is my pilot's license. I want to do that, and I want to get a bunch of my friends together, rent a plane, and just take them on a flight. Fly to Catalina, get lunch, come back. Gangster shit. Let's go.
That sounds more fun. Mine was like a deep. I was like, I want to make sure my kids are okay to fend for themselves.
That's good.
Yeah, before I die, I want that to be set in place, and then once that's good, whatever happens, I'm good with it.
Connor, he's probably the next McGregor, dude.
I mean, I do not want to advocate to be a professional fighter, but if he's good at it, well,
Your wife probably doesn't want to hear that, but
yeah, she's like, "What?" I'm like, "Well, he's good, let's see."
So the first thing that popped into my head was walking my daughter down the aisle.
oh, dude, wow, way to hit the feels, bro.
right.
That's good. I like
That's the
that.
first thing that popped, but then I was like, well, making sure she's good and she could handle life. That's pretty good too. But that was the first thing
kind of
that
go
popped.
hand in hand, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Such
Like,
great dads over here, Sam.
Right.
I love it. I
We got
love it.
animals.
Yeah, no, like, we got dogs.
as soon as the second that your child enters the world, that will be your answer.
Yeah.
100%.
Oh, I
like
believe it.
subconscious, not even like it's not even a thought. Like it's the craziest shit ever. But yeah, they were like, yeah, it's the kids. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'd be like, yeah, I want a yacht. And I want to go party and go have fun and invite everybody and have like crazy trips. Like I would love to do that before I die. But also like that's not the most important thing.
Yeah.
True.
You know.
I got you.
Well, it changes love, right? Like you think what unconditional love is until you have a kid. Then you're like, okay, I get what unconditional love
People
is.
tell me that with kids, like it
100%.
just changes everything. Is your perspective.
You're like,
now,
now you
I was just gonna say this. I know when I have a kid, it's gonna be like a nuclear bomb went off in my life.
Yes.
Your brain's gonna go.
Yeah, like wait,
No, you're gonna love it.
I can't go skydiving.
In a good way. In a good way. Yeah, no, it's not a bad thing.
No, you're just gonna go skydiving with your kid.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's dope.
you're gonna teach him all cool stuff.
I had that I told you guys that dog, the new dog I adopted, Roxy. She's like 10 pounds. It's coming in today. It's a cycling backpack for dogs, so
See?
she can be on my back. Yeah, and I
Awesome.
got her goggles.
Yeah.
they look like snowboarding goggles. They're made for little dogs.
Dude, the mohawks
Yeah.
just be whipping in the hair.
Yeah. When I adopted her, I was like, "Don't worry, she's gonna have a good time."
Dude, that's cool,
You're
man.
gonna get a little sidecar for your motorcycle.
I should, dude. I totally should. It's so funny. I'm gonna take pictures. I'll show you.
That's
guys.
awesome.
Yeah, I'm like, you're gonna come and be cycling, dog. We're gonna get this done.
Yeah, that's
Freaking
dope.
awesome. Sam, what about you?
I want to speak fluently in my dad's language to him.
Oh,
Yeah.
what's that language
that's
called?
So the language it's called Yoruba.
Yoruba?
Yeah, Yoruba. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, man, just speak fluently.
Can you speak any Yoruba right now?
I can't speak much.
Okay.
Yeah, just words here and there. And when I try to listen to him and really take it in, because it's a beautiful language. It's very tonal. So there's a lot of ups and downs, and yeah.
Dude, I bet
do
you
you say
that'd be
what-
so special, dude.
Yeah, oh, he would love it.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah, man. That's
We should bring your dad on the podcast.
How do you say what's up?
Yeah.
What's up?
How would you say like hi, how are you, or like what's up, or if there's different?
So right now it's morning, it's afternoon. So it would be écasson. So you would say,
Écasson.
yeah.
Écasson.
Écasson. Yeah.
Écasson.
Really?
Son.
Yeah.
So you would say that.
Sounds almost French. Right?
Yeah, right. Dude, my name, como la fe.
Yeah.
It's colonization, whatever. But yeah,
Whatever. Écasson.
écasson. Yeah, man. But it's beautiful. It's just such a beautiful.
That's so
language.
cool, dude.
Yeah,
You can
bro.
do it.
Yeah.
You'll be able to
Oh
do it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Freaking love it, man. Well, Joe, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, man.
You guys are rad.
Yeah, no, thanks for spending time away from your family, talking with us. We've been waiting for this for a while. Again, we've known each other since second grade. I'm proud. Might sound weird, but I'm really proud of the man you've become and the things that you've done for yourself, for your family, the self-awareness that you have, your honesty, the true friendship and person that you are. I can see that you definitely live out your faith. You're a good man, and I appreciate you more than you know, man.
I love you, Joe.
I appreciate you
thanks.
guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks
man.
for talking about Hot Shut Up.
No
Honestly,
problem. Thanks for
I
having
hope
us.
we get the other guys on here. We want to help get as many people to that event as possible. I think it's very important.
Heck yeah.
I know we haven't known each other for like a whole long time, but I feel like our conversation was pretty deep. But there are just so many awesome takeaways from everything that was said during this duration. And just like, I think you're a good example of like, obviously we all have our flaws, but like to mimic yourself within the job specifically and like how to be with others and just like life morality. That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. And, I look forward to seeing you around, man.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, and Sam got to see you after like 20 years.
I know.
Yeah, man. Such a reunion,
Good
bro.
reunion.
So awesome, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so everybody knows, I specifically did not tell Sam, who operates their cameras, that Joe was coming on because they haven't seen each other since high school.
Yeah, and
so
he,
that was a good
he
reunion.
assaulted me once
Yeah,
he
I
came through
freaked the fuck out.
All right, well, hey, let's get a let's go on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Let's go.
Bye, everybody. And that's it. Thank you for listening in, everybody. We'd like to thank our sound engineer who makes this podcast happen and makes us sound very good, Stephen Clark. And to our first sponsor, 89 Barbers. Look good, feel good, be great. Come get your haircut at 2 locations, Long Beach and in Orange, California. Your appointment can be booked at 89barbers.com. That is EIGHTNINEBAB. BARBRERS. 89barbers.com. Again, look good, feel good, be great. Check it out. It's my barber. He is the man. Thanks, everybody. Bye.